For the month of May, these episodes are going to be in collaboration with my speaking program, Speak Up. Don't worry, you don't have to go to a conference centre, not that we're doing that at the moment, and run along the stage, smell of bad coffee, and get all these people to whoop and cheer and run to the back to sign up for a 10 grand program. But if you are online, whether you're a service based business or you're selling products, you do need to be visible. And for the most part, people are buying into you. They're buying into you, the person, the face behind the brand. But I know that can be the scariest thing, going live, pressing publish, being in front of people, and saying what you do and here's how you can pay me can really bring you out of your comfort zone. But don't worry, I've got you. I've helped over 1,000 people with this. So if you want to earn money from speaking, or you want to create more consistent content that shows your audience or potential clients that you're credible, genuine, engaging, and exactly who you are, or you want to raise the profile of your personal brand, or you just want to feel like you can own all your skills and talents and experience so you don't get stuck in imposter syndrome or self-doubt or confidence dips. I want to help you to be the go-to person. Your inbox is flooded with all kinds of lovely opportunities. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to have a swipe up on Instagram. You don't have to be married to a footballer and live in a mock Tudor mansion. Can you tell I grew up in the 90s? There will be a lovely space that is already waiting for you to fill, because we need you. We need your voice, we need your brand, we need your impact, and we need your business. So check out all the details down below and come on in. Hello, it's Nikki. Today you get the backstage tour, the behind the scenes, I guess, and I wanted to share something that I don't think I've ever shared before, and to give things a little bit of context. So recently on Instagram, I've been resharing some of the interviews that I started with on the podcast, and these were recorded in the first quarter of 2018, so over 2 years ago. And it's really interesting when I go back and I look at my stats, because I see week on week, episode on episode, every week my stats really increase. And certainly since we've been down in lockdown in the UK over the last couple of months, my stats have gone bananas. And it pleases me so much, because not only is it kind of reaffirming that people need what I was offering, but that people are getting, I guess, what they need, and they're feeling supported. Or even if they're at home all day with kids and they're feeling a bit alone and they're missing the chat of their mum or their friends and family or whoever it might be, that there is a sense that there's a sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And that just pleases me so much. However, it's been interesting when I've reshared. There have been messages that I've had. They're like, "How have you done all of this? How has there's so many. How do you have?" My friend Susie said this the other day. Like, how have you got the time and the energy to have these conversations? And I took a moment to kind of think about that, and not saying like I'm a superwoman or anything by any means, because if you followed along with the podcast for a while, you'll have seen there's been times where I've really delivered a lot of content, and there's been other times where I haven't. And I kind of can't apologize for that, because sometimes there are seasons of things, and if you are consistently doing something all of the time, sometimes you need breaks. I had a baby last year, and that's just the way that we roll. But consistency is definitely one of my goals for 2020, but that's another story. Anyway, when I was thinking about the answer to this question, the first thing that came to mind was, it doesn't feel difficult. It doesn't feel hard. It feels like a really lovely experience to be part of. And the interviewees that I choose or that pitch to me, they're always really chosen well with care, and I never sit down and I guess carve out that time and that energy and that space for somebody who I don't think is going to offer value to my audience, or just someone that I just don't get a really great sense of. Like sometimes I'll get a pitch on my email and I'm like, it's no, like it doesn't feel right. There's nothing about that email that kind of is appealing, or it's not so much about the person and what they do, it's about the lack of care. Like I'm just another podcast that their PR person is pitching to, and it's never been that for me. But the reason that I started, and this is where you may want to grab your piece of paper and a pen and have a few thoughts on this, is I wanted to find a way that I could show my audience, if I can say that, or people who potentially might be interested in what I do and how I can help. I wanted to show them who I was. And this is not about, a Piers Morgan life stories, behind the scenes, Jeremy Kyle moment by any means, but it is about showing the stuff that you can't necessarily write on a sales page or on an about page, or you can't get that experience of somebody. And that's why something like video is so powerful, because people really get to know you and they're like, oh, Nikki's hair's gone a bit long here, oh, seen that jumper before, or she needs her eyebrows doing, whatever it is. We know the power of video. But I was really craving a sense of being able to show up where it felt really good to me. And what I was seeing in the market is that everybody was shouting in the same way, like, guys, if you want this thing, like, just do this, like, and it just didn't sit well with me. Equally, kind of sitting by a window and saying, I can help you find your life's purpose in a pashmina, that didn't feel right either. So I knew there had to be this moment where I could actually talk in the way that I talk. I could ask the questions that I wanted to. I could surround myself with people who were going to bring out the best in me, and that we were going to have a really great conversation. And that's kind of how it started. So even though I was coming at it from a business perspective, as in, if I was going to put my time and my energy into something, of course I wanted some kind of return on investment, and I'll go into that a little bit more in a while. It needed to feel really good, because one thing I did realize was when I started, suddenly lots of people started doing something very, very similar and popping up and going, oh, podcast, oh, she had that person, oh, she was shouting out, oh, I'm going to do the same. And part of me, I can't lie, was like, oh no, all these people are stealing my idea, this is my thing, which is a ridiculous thing to say, because actually there is more than enough, and the more of these conversations that we have, the better it is for everybody. But another thing is, a lot of those people who started doing something very similar, they've just fallen off the wayside now. Like, they did 3 or 4 episodes and they were like, oh, actually this is a lot of work, and maybe it's not my kind of area of expertise or what I was going to do. And I think that's another point to make, is that I've had a performance background. I went to drama school for 3 years. I've been an actor for 25 years, being on camera, being in conversation, and I don't want to say it because it just sounds a bit kind of showbiz, but like being able to turn it on. Like, there's those days where I know there are some people that like, oh my goodness, it's going to take me 3 weeks to pluck up the courage to make a video. And of course, like in the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Or what if somebody from school sees it, or those kinds of things. But actually now I'm like, well, I'm just going to get on with it, because I've got 101 things to do on my to-do list today. So in a sense, even though it's not something that is directly monetized, so it doesn't matter how many episodes I put out, I don't have to, at the moment, I don't have to check in with everybody and say, right, these are the stats from this month, and this is what I did, and this is the point where people stop listening. Like, I'm not accountable. I am the producer of this thing. But what it does do is opens people up to my world, and there is some kind of relatability. So people can almost like do a lot of research on me before they even get to the point of having a conversation or reaching out. Or sometimes some people have like never been on my website, they've only ever listened to this. Maybe that's you. Like, let me know what you know about me. That's very narcissistic. I don't mean that in that way. But another thing that it's been really great for is to make this commitment to be visible, to show up even on those days where you're like, I could really do without this today, or I'm not feeling my best, or it's the time of the month, or whatever. It kind of really showcases who you are and what you do without you being in the room. So with two small children, I really need my content to work for me. As in, if I'm going to make a video, and I was saying this to somebody the other day when I was being interviewed for a magazine, if I'm going to make a video, I'm going to change it into an audio file. I'm going to pull a quote from it and make it into a blog post. I'm going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to put it on my website as a blog. I'm going to do lots of different things. I'm going to reshare it later down the line. I'm going to tag it with similar content. So if people discover one thing and they like that kind of thing, they can find more. So I hope that gives you some kind of insight in terms of the way that I make the podcast work and the reasons that I do what I do. And again, this is kind of over to you now. What feels really good in terms of the next stage of your content marketing, of putting yourself out there? And I don't want you to go from a generic like, oh, so these are what people in my industry do, so maybe I should do that as well. I want you to listen to what your heart's saying and going, what do I really love to do? Or what are the things that really convert? What really helps me get my business out there? What do people love what's the experience that they kind of come back to time and time again? Because that will be your secret sauce in terms of growing your personal brand, in terms of putting yourself out there. That's going to be the stuff that's going to be really game changing. Can't believe I used the word game changing, sorry. But yeah, there are some people who'll go, they're trying to follow a formula of like, right, do 3 quotes a week, do 1 video and 2 blog posts. If you don't want to write blog posts, it's not going to work for you, because by week 2, you're going to be like, oh my God, those bloody blog posts I've got to do again. And then you won't do it. And then something will happen. And then your business will start to deplete slightly. And then you're going to be like, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I shouldn't do it. And then the mindset kicks in. So, have a little play, go for a walk, fiddle around with the ideas, just sort of think about what the next steps are for you. And if I can answer any questions, please let me know. If you want to pick my brains, I offer free 15-minute sessions. So come on over and bring your questions. I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. Please subscribe and rate and review and subscribe and share if you like. That would be very lovely as well. And I'll catch you again very soon. Bye.